Books, poetry, obfuscated code, and der Untergang.
Boing, 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 boing.
Hi, I'm Shenny and welcome to a Boing Boing TV update. We have a lot to talk about this week. First, Virgin America. You may have seen us on Virgin America planes. In the back of the seat, when you're flying up there, you can watch our show. Today, Virgin America is launching something else, in-flight wireless. There's a bunch of people who are YouTube directors and bloggers. One of them, Glenn Fleischman. Glenn is a wireless technology journalist based in Seattle. We've blogged about him many times before. Basically, anytime there's an interesting wireless-related story, we reach out to Glenn. Glenn, are you up there?
I'm sitting here with Jack Blumenstein, who is the head of Aircell, the company that has developed and rolled out the GoGo internet service that we were able to use during this flight today, this Virgin America flight. And Jack, tell me, how'd the flight go for you? This is kind of the inaugural launch for Virgin.
It went fantastically well. These Virgin America people are great to work with. We had a plane full of blogging technical people. We just finished a YouTube live event. It was phenomenal.
It was kind of nice. 130 odd people on the plane using the internet all at once, and it seemed to work.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to work, but this is supposed to deliver the same kind of broadband service you'd get in a hotspot on the ground, and looking around at the happy faces, I think we achieved that.
Well, tell me, how does this technology work in a nutshell? We're flying at some number of tens of thousands of feet. Where does the internet go from the plane?
We actually have a link between the plane and the ground that shoots down to a set of towers, our own network on the ground covering the entire United States. Within the airplane, it's a simple hotspot. Actually, not that simple, but we're at 35,000 feet. But the trick is to make that 3G technology cover the space between the plane and the ground and provide the same kind of broadband connectivity that you're used to having on the ground.
This is 3G technology, but we're not really using it's a cellular network. We're not using a cellular network. This is your own proprietary system beaming to your own towers.
That's correct. It's Wi-Fi in the plane. It's the cellular technology provides the link down to the ground. We convert all the signals in the plane, shoot them to the ground over CDMA, over EVDO Rev A, and then put it out into the network just like a ground network.
That's great. And now what does this cost for passengers to use when this rolls out on Virgin next week?
On Virgin next week, it's $9.95 if you're on a flight of less than 3 hours, and $12.95 if you're on a flight of more than 3 hours.
That's great. And we're
all you can eat or drink.
All you can drink. Now, all you can eat. This has been an issue, especially for Boing Boing. Boing Boing's been filtered on the ground a lot. What's going to be filtered in the air? How do you work with airlines to figure out what people can see and what they can't?
It's absolutely a question of what the airline feels most comfortable with. Virgin has decided, Virgin America, not to do any filtering. It's going to rely on the good sense of people in the airplane to monitor their behavior. And frankly, that's what we've seen all across the country with American and others. American, however, and Delta, and I can understand why, wants to put some filtering on board just to make sure there's no what they would consider inappropriate content on the aircraft. We're happy to do with the airline whatever they want to do.
That's great. So we can read Boing Boing in the air, but there might be, on Virgin at least, but there might be some limitations. Now I know there is one thing that is limited, which is voice over IP, streaming audio and video that's coming up from the plane. That's going to be restricted, correct?
Well, voice over IP again is an airline choice, and so far all the airlines have chosen to have us block that so that people can operate with the internet and email and all their choice in the quiet and peace of the airplane. Totally an airline choice. There are always, and I know what's going on out there in Boing Boing land, there are people saying, aha, I know how to get around that. They do, and they will, and we'll catch them, and we'll shut it down, and they'll move on. But for most mortals on an airplane, they won't have voice around them.
Well, I've been talking to Jack Blumenstein, the head of Aircell. We've been talking about this inaugural Wi-Fi flight, and we'll be starting in production service next week. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
After the break, books, poetry, obfuscated code, and der Untergang. Welcome back. So Boing Boing's current guest blogger is Dale Dougherty, who is the editor and publisher of Make magazine. Usually he's based in Northern California. Right now he's in Banff, Canada, so he's sort of wandering around in the mountains up there with his wife. You may have seen his photographs of avalanches, just engaged his and hers snow persons. Check him out. Dale's going to be blogging for a little while. Maybe he'll stay up in Banff the whole time, and maybe he'll be wandering around some Make events. Teresa Nielsen Hayden, our community moderator, She Who Disemvowels, announced a poetry contest recently in the Boing Boing comment thread. So you had to write poetry or haiku or blank verse using typical Boing Boing themes. And the winner is Spatula Lilacs for Sestina of a Reluctant Copy Fighter. Obfuscated code is when you write code in a really, really complex way, sometimes intentionally, maybe even as a joke or kind of an art form. Sometimes it's called shrouded code. The Boing Boing Gadgets guys did a contest recently to see who could create a string of obfuscated code that would write the words Boing Boing. And we have a winner. And the winner is Boing Boing commenter MCD for a pithy, clever string that got the job done. Here's another example of an obfuscated code string entered in the contest that we liked a lot. Okay, that's going to do it for us. Tomorrow on Boing Boing TV, Joel Johnson reviews the Cameo picture frame for your phone cam photos. And we leave you with the latest internet parody of the Third Reich-themed movie Downfall. This one has been repurposed to make lulz out of the housing bubble.
Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Versicht sie! Dass ihr Wagen sich mein Befehl zu widersetzen! So weit ist das also gekommen. Das Militär hat mich belogen! Jeder hat mich belogen, sogar die SS! Die gesamte Generalität ist nichts weiter als ein Haufen niederträchtiger, treuloser Feiglinge!
Mein Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie verbrechen...
Nicht als Feiglinge! Verreiter, Versager!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich!
Die Generalität ist das Geschmeiß des deutschen Volkes! Sie ist ohne Ehre! Sie nennen sich Generale, weil sie Jahre auf Militär...